as a response to the pandemic. All right. And so that's my goal. That's where I'm going to go. And you'll see that next week. I'll certainly present that. What I don't want to do is get too far ahead of you guys, right? Because you're just thinking of outlines. I'm giving you Learning Outcome 1 already. And in the next class, then we'll get into Learning Outcome 2, but then I'll give you a finished up assignment. Now, if you copy my assignment and submit it, you'll fail, right? You guys understand that, right? And certainly I know who wrote it. And we're laughing, but I've had students do that, all right? It just doesn't work, okay? The first one will get through because it won't fail the similarity test. But I'll still know it's what I wrote, right? So please don't just copy my example and submit it. All right? Yeah. So if you desperately want to do Apple and Microsoft, okay, you can do that. But I'm just telling you, it's going to be a high-risk scenario for you because of similarity. Now, when you write, you got a bunch of other theorists. You could certainly come up with your own ideas. Yeah. So there we are. Now, questions. What questions do you have about the assignment, about the learning outcomes, about the expectations? Questions. Where's my chat? Chat. There we go. Yeah. Originally I was going to do something else, and Miss Chang came back and suggested this. I don't really see any big role of Harvey Nash. I'm probably going to bring Harvey Nash back into my conclusion, okay, because it was in my introduction. And so that's why I have a separate area for conclusion. And so, yeah, the short answer is intro and conclusion. Okay. You don't need to, unless you want to do Harvey Nash and say Adecco, right? You could certainly compare Harvey Nash and Adecco or another company that's similar. But I don't know that you're going to get enough information about management styles. You're going to have to make a lot up. All right, create a scenario. But I don't. It's not really part of the P1, P2, P3, P4. It just talks about management activities and organizations. And even in the brief, it doesn't really talk about incorporating the Harvey Nash into your writing. All right. So it's kind of out there, and that's why I put it in the intro, and I'll put something in the conclusion, but you don't need to do an evaluation of them. Okay. You can if you want, but it's not going to save you any words in writing. Okay. What else? What other questions? Questions? This is our time. So let me just give a little feedback here. All right, so what's this? Win T Hung Han. All right. you're doing 4 companies, right? Indeed, Russell, Microsoft, and Samsung. I don't know Russell Reynolds. No, that's okay. Certainly, Indeed and Harvey Nash, you can talk about the different organizations. I don't know how much you know about management style. I don't know them well enough. But I wouldn't talk about Indeed, Microsoft, and Samsung, right? I just do Microsoft and Samsung. They're both technology companies. And certainly there's a good talk about Microsoft and Nokia versus Samsung. All right. So you've got, you've done the outline basically the same way I did, which is just take what they have. So you've done a bit more than an outline. You've actually gone into how you're going to structure your assignment, which is good. And if you want to do Harvey Nash, knock yourself out. You're not required to. Okay. So I don't know if Hung Han is here. Are you? Check the participations. There you are. So, Hung Han, do you have any specific questions? You sent me a very detailed outline. You must have a ton of questions. I won't show your outline to everybody. But yeah, you've got a very well structured assignment. The only thing I would say is, make sure you do the distinction. Okay. If you do what you've written, you're going to be at like 6,000 words. Okay. It's very exhaustive in that way. All right. So you look on top of things. I don't want to tell you what not to do. So let me put Hung Han. Yeah. Okay. So your draft is exceptional. Right. And let's do 2 companies to. Right. And that's what I'm saying, because you could end up with 6,000 words if you add more companies, and you don't need to do that, right? You don't need to do that for distinction. Okay. 3 companies is okay. That's fine. But I wouldn't do more. All right. That's clearly up to you. And you don't have to write about all 3 companies everywhere. Just in some areas, you can use 3 companies and just do 1 company for other areas, right? Just do what the P1 or P2 say. You don't have to overdo it, okay? Because you're going to do the critical phase and the critical phase. All right, so that's good. Let me see who else. I had half a dozen here. Now, who is Hung Tu? Is Hung Tu in this class? I have a Tang Tu, but I don't have a Hung Tu. Okay. Hung Tao. Okay, I do have Hung Tao. All right, so you are here. Now, Hung Tao, you are here, 27. You've given me a draft, okay, which is fine, but I don't see the companies. Okay, so yeah, this is what you're gonna write. It doesn't matter what companies, right? In the end,
how to send the company. I will send the company later.
Yeah, that's fine. You can send the company later, but your draft is fine. Okay, what you've got as far as your outline, yeah, that's what you need to cover. So good job. Yeah. Now, if you have any questions, just shoot them over to me, right? Now, you're gonna do. Okay, you've got a beverage company and an internet company, and I would like to say that these companies have nothing in common. Okay, I mean zero. And you can do that. It's just going to add, as I said, maybe 50% more words because you're going to have to give me more details about the company. Whereas, as you saw with Apple and Microsoft, I'm just kind of flowing back and forth between them, weaving a story. Whereas you're actually doing two separate analyses. All right. Now, you might, instead of the internet company, you might want to go with, say, Coca-Cola or Pepsi, right, which offer a different beverage product. Or you might want to go with, I don't know, is it Tiger or is it Heineken? They have a bottling just outside of Hanoi. Okay, my friend built a factory. But I don't know. I don't know if it's Tiger or Heineken. They're both the same, but I don't know who is the leader. So you may want to consider that. All right. And that may be 10 hip fat. I don't recall who they are. So your outline is good. You've done basically the same thing that I did, right? I don't see you shooting for merit or distinction in what you've written here. Maybe merit, obviously, but not really distinction because you're not doing any critical analysis. So, if I were you, since you're doing all this, distinction is just another 300 words, maximum 400 words. So, hey, why not just write them? Okay, Nhi? You got me?
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, you've already laid out the merit, and the critical analysis is only another 300 words. And you'll see that when I give you an example of my critical analysis. It's not that involved, all right? Well, if you've already done merit, then the distinction part is the easy part, okay? The merit is the hard part. That takes more work, all right? So that's why in this assignment, that's why I say it's one you can do merit and distinction pretty easily, all right? So yeah, good job, Nhi. Look forward to your assignment. And I had one more come in a little bit earlier, I thought. These three came in today. I'm not seeing it. No. All right. So that's where we are at the moment. What additional questions do you guys have?
Can you comment about my outline again because I was downstairs at that
No, that's
time?
fine. Yeah, no, that's fine. So just to reemphasize about what you did, okay, you have two companies, right? But they're not similar. Okay, they're two different directions. And the idea of comparing a local company to a foreign company, that's a good idea. All right. But to reduce my writing, okay, I would choose two companies in the same industry. All right. Now, I don't recognize the name. I'm sure I've seen it in a dozen places already. I'd have to look it up. But I would choose maybe a foreign company that competes with them or offers similar products. All right. And that company could be really big. Yeah.
IP procurement. I would use that two company.
Yeah. So I would, I would focus that way. In other words, I would look for a similar company that's offering similar products and competing with them. And, you could even go to maybe a company that distributes their products. So maybe a Vinmart, all right, but has some kind of relationship to the product, all right. And so to make it simpler, easier, shorter, I would do two companies from the same industry. Now, like I said, one can be Vietnamese, one can be a foreign company. That's fine. But I wouldn't use a company from, let's say, technology industry and a company from the food industry, because you end up writing a lot more. Okay. So focus, right? Focus.
Yeah.
What questions do you have?
I have wondering that in the analysis about LA1, that we don't need to analyze the Harvey Nash comedy, right? Just to
That's right. Yeah, you don't need to analyze Harvey Nash. And as you saw when I did and that's why I did it, I put an introduction there, and I will put something in the conclusion, all right, about Harvey Nash.
Okay.
But that's just tying the assignment together, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just cut the Harvey Nash.
Yeah, cut it
in my outline, right?
Yeah, and just do two companies, right? You don't have to do 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So you can, if there's a particular reason because you want to use a theory and you want to apply the theory on 3 different companies, okay, do that. But you don't have to then include that company in everything else you do. All right, so try to keep it compact. All right, your writing is better. All right, good. Thank you. Again, if you have questions this week, shoot me an email. I really would like to see the 2 companies you want to do, just like we discussed today, for those reasons. All right. Get your feedback. I will respond to your emails. Obviously, I didn't respond to you guys today because you sent me them today and we have class tonight. But yeah, I will respond to your emails and give you my thoughts if I have concerns. Otherwise, I look forward to our next class. We should be ready to go the next class. You can certainly see what I'm writing. And there we are. Good. Any questions right now? Any more questions right now?
Well, Amazon and Microsoft is the same industry, right?
Yeah, try to stay with the same industry. It simplifies the writing.
Can I use them?
Yeah, you can use anyone you want. All right, just try to keep it tight. Because when you compare like if you do a Vroom model or a Fiedler model or anything like that, being in the same industry helps. All right. If you want to show differences in outcomes, and so you want a task-oriented and relationship-oriented or whatever, fine, you can do 2 different industries. All right. But for your main writing, you want to be able to compare. This one's more just like Bill Gates, more participative. Steve Jobs, more authoritarian. I can contrast. All right. But that's because I know I have 2 people leading these companies in that industry. So it's kind of simple for me. If you don't know about the leaders themselves, well, you have to make a scenario, right? And you can tell a story. And stories are okay. All right. So maybe you don't know what kind of leader they are. And you just say, okay, by what we see from the company, the leader appears to be, right? Okay. So we're out of time. I want to thank you all. Again, shoot me your questions by email. I will respond. Thank you. And you guys have a wonderful week. And let's hope the war doesn't start yet. Thank you, and goodbye.
Goodbye.